Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the November 4th, 2014 regular meeting of the Piqua City Commission. If you would all make sure your cell phones are turned completely off, please, as they might interfere with our broadcast signal. And then please rise and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Would the clerk please call the roll?
Mayor Fess,
Here.
Commissioner Martin,
Here.
Commissioner Vogt,
Here.
Commissioner Wilson,
Here.
Commissioner Terry.
Here.
For our first item of business tonight, we would like to welcome Edna Stiffel, who's here to give a presentation on behalf of the Friends of the Piqua Parks.
Good evening. Edna Stiffel, 910 Boone. I'm here on behalf of the Friends of the Parks. Oh, thank you. And Mr. Devers was to be here, but he is unable to attend tonight, so you're got me.
That's good.
With the
That's
funds
all right.
raised last year by the Friends of the Park, Mark Castro will begin any day now planting 7 maple trees, 6 aristocrat pear trees, and 3 Fat Albert spruce trees at Pitzenbarger Park. We're doing some landscaping in preparation. The American flag and the lighted flagpole donated by the Piqua Rotary Club will be installed this month, with the concrete from the base being donated by Piqua Concrete. All this work is in preparation for the life-size statue of Piqua's Medal of Honor recipient, William H. Pitzenbarger, and the beautification of the park. The Friends of the Piqua Park and the Piqua High School class of 1962 have been busy raising the $90,000 needed to complete the project. We have been very encouraged by the community response so far. Through a gift from Hartzell Propeller, grants from the Lungard and Piqua Community Foundation, the donations small and large, we have raised almost $50,000. We have applied for several other foundations, but we are also in need of help from our Piqua residents and business owners. We continue each day to expand our scope of funding possibilities. We have requested funds from the Duke Foundation, Miami County Foundation, Vectren, our local banks, and the Kroger Company. Young Pitzenbarger worked as a bagger for Kroger's during his high school days before he left school to join the Air Force. Some interesting facts on other memorials dedicated to William Pitzenbarger include the dining hall at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, and his name engraved in the Medal of Honor recognition wall of the Air Force Memorial in Washington, D.C. Throughout the United States, there are more than 12 memorials in his honor. On November 10th, the Ohio State House Museum Gallery in Columbus will open an exhibit called Honoring Ohioans. Among the exhibits will be a Medal of Honor recipients from Ohio. Our hometown hero, William H. Pitzenbarger, will be among those featured in this exhibit. We here in Piqua should be so proud of this young man from our community to receive such an honor and is being featured in this prestigious exhibit in our state capitol. On November the 11th, take note please, Veterans Day, 311 Draft House on Main Street is hosting a fundraiser for the Friends of the Parks to help in our efforts to build the statue of Mr. Pitzenbarger. The event will begin at 5 p.m. with an American flag being presented by the Veterans Elite Tribute Squad. There is a cover charge of $10, which will be donated to the project. Included in the evening will be free entertainment, free popcorn, and your first beer is free. We hope you will join our committee at the 311 Draft House for the fun evening for such a worthwhile cause. We sincerely thank all of those who have financially supported this project and ask our community leaders, business owners, and residents to give their financial support to make this endeavor a success. Thank you.
Thank you, Edna, and also thanks to the Friends of the Park Committee for your good work on this.
Thank you, and anyone that is interested in making a donation can make the check to the Friends of the Piqua Parks, Post Office Box 270, Piqua 45356.
And I believe in addition to the fundraising that's been done for the statue, there's additional about $15,000 that was done for the landscaping there at the entrance of the park.
That was
So
what was
that's all
raised last
donations
year.
too, and that was quite a bit of great work by the Friends of the Piqua Park.
So we hope not to only build this, put the statue there, but we hope to enhance the park. Thank
Great.
you. Any
Thank
other
you.
questions? Thank you.
Good work.
Moving to our agenda, the first item on our agenda is the consent agenda, which is the approval of the minutes from the October 21st, 2014 regular Piqua City Commission meeting.
I move we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor signify stating aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. The consent agenda has been approved. Moving to our regular agenda, we do have a short meeting this evening so everyone can get home and see the election returns. And we move to old business, which is ordinance number 13-14. This is the third reading.
An ordinance amending sections 154.141 of the City of Piqua Code of Ordinances to allow a zoning designation change to be enacted by resolution.
City Planner Chris Measing will provide the staff report.
Thank you. This item, if approved this evening, will allow us to amend the zoning code to provide for a process that would give business owners and property owners the opportunity to seek a zoning change designation in a most expedited manner. Currently, it takes about 3 months for that process to be completed as per the zoning requirements that exist now. With what's proposed, it would be reduced to about a 30 to 45-day process. So significant time savings for the business community and individuals seeking that kind of zoning change. This is consistent with everything that we do in terms of how we look at our permitting process and trying to create as efficient and customer-friendly environment as possible.
Thank you, Chris. Commissioners, is there any questions for Chris?
Even though this is expedited, there's still plenty of time for any input from the public on and any issues they would have, so that still will be there. All we're doing is making it a little quicker for the convenience of everyone, correct?
We've basically boiled it down to its basic elements, but we haven't went so far to such an extreme that we've taken out the due process that's necessary. So there's still a hearing, a public hearing at the Planning Commission level, and then the City Commission has a hearing where they take final action. So it's a two-step process. So
Great.
still ample opportunity for public input.
Good.
Anyone in the audience wish to speak for or against this resolution? If not, this being the third reading, I would entertain a motion to.
Move to adopt ordinance number 13-14.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded to adopt ordinance number 13-14. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Mayor Fess,
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson,
Aye.
Commissioner Terry,
Aye.
Commissioner Vogt,
Aye.
Commissioner Martin.
Aye.
Ordinance number 13-14 has been adopted. Ordinance number 14-14, this would be the second reading of this ordinance.
An ordinance amending section 77.01, traffic schedules adopted, Schedule 4 and Schedule 7 of the Piqua Code relating to four-way stop intersections and traffic control devices pertaining to the High Street, College Street intersection.
Director of Engineering Amy Habner will provide the staff report.
Thank you. This ordinance would allow us to modify the traffic schedule to allow the intersection of High Street and College Street to go from a signalized intersection to a multi-way stop intersection. We originally had this intersection included in the College Street project that we finished up last year. It was College and High, College and Covington, and College and Water. However, when we started the design, it was brought up by our designer and by the Ohio Department of Transportation that this signal was not warranted, therefore they would not fund it. So at that point, we started looking at it internally and reviewing it. We reviewed it at the Transportation Committee, and they recommended the removal, as well as the, this item went before the Planning Commission, and they recommended it unanimously as well.
Thank you, Amy. Commissioners, any questions?
I do want to comment that we did have an individual that sent, I think I forwarded to you an email today, called in, was concerned that moving the traffic signal would hurt their ability to walk to the store through that intersection because they live at the old high school location. So I just wanted to make you aware that that concern did come in. So
Couldn't we designate those crosswalks as a crosswalk designation like we do downtown, and they would have the right of way at any time in it?
I think that, I'll ask Amy to comment further on it, but we don't believe that the four-way stop will hinder the safety of anyone at that intersection, and we can do things to help with that intersection. So.
What is the exact criteria for denying the light? Is it just traffic count?
No, there's different warrants. I believe there's 12 different warrants you have to look at. It's traffic volumes on all approaches. It's speed, it's number of pedestrians, it's the number of accidents. So there's a long list that you have to look at, the peak hour as far as the volume at certain times. So you have to meet a certain amount of those in order for the signal to be warranted.
And do they factor in the proximity of a senior housing area right there? Is that one of the factors?
The land use isn't, but they do look at the amount of pedestrians.
Pedestrian traffic would be would be one of the issues. Yes.
Okay. Because I've gotten a lot of objections to this from people in the area, including the Goodwill Easter Seals group, which has a lot of seniors there in the old high school, and also at the Piqua Senior Housing, they have a lot of objections. A lot of the people at the Goodwill Easter Seals walk there, and the Piqua Senior Housing people tend to not drive, so they're walking across the street to either the dollar store or the drugstore. So they have concerns with the people living there, not only of their age, but some of their handicaps they feel would make it possibly a less safe condition if we remove the light. So I haven't had anyone in favor of it, just opposition so far.
I think what we found with the downtown signals, we heard the same complaints or questions or comments before we removed those. And what we found is with the signal, and Chief might back me up, but people can almost time them if they drive them enough, so they know when they're going to turn, so they tend to speed up and try to beat the signal. Whereas a stop sign, they know they're going to have to stop. So ultimately downtown, it proved to be safer, and I think we feel this intersection is going to be exactly the same way.
Except for the senior citizen, the group of senior citizens that live or frequent that area. That's a very unique situation. I don't think we've taken that into account.
Well, if we make that a designated crosswalk, they will have the right of way at any time in there.
And Joe, I'm surprised that if the Easter Seal people, I don't think there's many people that walk there. I go down there periodically to visit with them, and most of them are pretty infirm. You know, a lot of them are in wheelchairs.
Right.
There's not many who are mobile, I don't believe, that are walking in the neighborhood there.
I was told they have some. I don't know a number from
Yeah,
the
I don't
lady who
think-
runs the place. So.
Yeah, I'm not sure there's many. And I didn't hear anything from Michelle. You know, usually she'll call me if she has an issue.
She's not there anymore.
She isn't?
She's
That's
in-
probably why she didn't call.
Yeah, I think so. But I think there might also be some other non-physical issues that might be an issue here as well.
I've had questions. I haven't had anybody that's been adamantly opposed to this. I've had questions about it, and the city manager has done a very good job of helping me respond to those questions, and that being that the one that I didn't get an answer for is, what time of day were those studies done, Amy? Were they done at different periods throughout the day so that they got a good read of what was going on, say at 8 o'clock in the morning and at 5 o'clock in the afternoon?
Yeah, I believe, and I'd have to go back and double check. I'm not sure if they put counters down, which would collect the 24-hour data. If not, we typically do what we call peak hour, which are around the lunch times and the supper time, to try to get the majority of the traffic or the school traffic if it's near a school. So we try to hit what we call those as peak hour times.
Well, and the purpose of these changes and the studies that we're doing is to move traffic through the city more safely and faster and better.
also safety for both moving traffic efficiently and better, but also for the safety of pedestrians too. I think many times that, when these changes occur, a lot of the concerns are perceptions, and that's understandable. People, perceive that it's going to be harmful in some way, but we believe in many of these cases it actually makes it much safer in those cases for those individuals. I know we have traffic concern, people worried about not being able to get through there, but right now with those traffic signals and the less volume of traffic that travels through there as it used to, I think people, Amy, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they're having unnecessary 20-some second waits that they don't, with a four-way stop, they could move on through the intersection. At the same time, she makes a very good point that the stop signs do stop traffic. Sometimes lights don't necessarily stop traffic either, especially yellow or caution
Yeah,
lights
when
and
they're
things like
going
that.
through.
So it's a perception thing, but we feel confident that it's going to be fine.
Amy, after our vote, are we going to proceed with a trial run of this before the vote? I mean, we've got another reading yet coming up, and see how it works before we have to take a vote on it to.
Yeah, after the third reading, then we will go ahead and put the signal in flash mode, and this is all following the Ohio Department of Transportation standards. During that time, and I'm not sure the exact amount of time it goes on flash, and at that point, then the Transportation Committee observes the signal, the police department, the fire department, the engineering department, and then at that point, the signal's still up. It's there as a signal. So if we have major issues, at that point, we can, in turn, go back to a signalized intersection. But that's all part of the evaluation of the signal removal.
So our vote in the next meeting would allow this to happen, the trial run, let's say, and then after that, we're going to observe it for a certain period of time.
Correct.
I
Yeah,
think-
we've never had one that we've flipped back, but that's part of the observation period of doing this, is there's a study period while it's on flash for, our group to look at it and see if there's any major issues.
Yeah.
Then I think after the stop signs go up, we do have flags and everything and additional signage to
Right.
help alert people that there's a traffic pattern change
So
going on.
we did the same process at South and Sunset.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah. Well, and I'm concerned. Truly, I'm concerned about putting parking back on that street, on College Street. So that's a concern of mine. I'm wondering too, with the traffic signal there, how is it that we get ODOT funding? What does the ODOT funding have to do with any?
Well, this was, we applied for all this as part of the College Street corridor, and with part of College Street being a U.S. route, we were able to lump all three of these signals together because they were at one time kind of working in coordination with each other. So they were willing to allow us to put this signal in with the funding cycle with the other two.
Okay. So right now, there would not be, if we left this signal in, it would not be, it would only be costing the city. It wouldn't be costing ODOT. I mean, we wouldn't be losing funds from ODOT. Is that correct?
No, that's correct. They basically said because this wasn't warranted, they were not going to allow their federal funds to be used to something that shouldn't even be there. So
But
they're
right
pretty
now,
much out of the
we're not
picture.
using ODOT funds anyway.
No.
Okay. Well, and here's my thought too. If indeed the light stays at High Street, would we not have a savings, a great savings, when we yank out the light at Green, Ash, and North? Wouldn't we see a great savings there?
The cost of maintaining the
Yeah,
signal.
the cost of maintaining those three, which are really redundant.
Those we do have grant funding for as part of our Safe Routes to
ODOT.
Schools
Yeah,
project,
it's
so
those.
that we already have funding secured for those. If we leave this one in, there is a cost associated with maintaining signals with electric and with our power systems costs they have to deal with too.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. Once those three come out, we would
But
We
I
would see
believe,
a cost
doesn't
savings.
ODOT maintain those? Don't we have funding to maintain any of those?
No, those are all
It
city.
would be a
all
cost savings
city?
to us, yes.
Okay.
It would be a cost savings to the city. Just a thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had somebody ask me today if we was gonna make that one, turn into one lane. All four entrances to
Yes.
that intersection. And then he also asked about parking. Does that mean that there'd be parking in front of the seniors' home and across the street?
Yes.
And, okay.
By eliminating the left turn lane, we'll be able to add on-street parking at all the approaches. The only one I believe is on the south side. On the west, I believe there's driveways, so it might be limited as far as adding parking there, but everywhere else, we'll be able to put parking back.
We do have a real parking issue there at the funeral home all the time, which would possibly help with that situation too.
Okay. All right, because that's what I was asked about, and I told him as far as I knew, it'd
Yep.
be one lane, and we would put parking back in where we couldn't have it now.
That's correct.
All right.
Have we notified anyone in the neighborhood that this is happening?
We had a public meeting at the planning commission level, and there was notification sent out at that time, and I don't believe anyone showed up at that meeting
Okay.
to speak either way, for or against.
Was that like a block away, or how, do you know about how far? Okay, because I didn't get any,
The mailing for the planning commission letter, or actually the mailing for the signal change went to the adjoining property owners, so the four corners of the intersection. The notification for the planning commission is by way of the usual public announcement, newspaper and website, media, advertisement.
So we haven't talked to the two groups who are opposed to this at all? The Piqua Senior Housing and the Goodwill Easter Seals?
I guess we haven't received any phone calls of their
We
opposition,
haven't
so
heard
no.
anything from anyone.
Okay, because they're opposed to it, and I just think we need to get a hold of them to be sure they know what it is,
I
and we
think
know
if they're
what.
opposed, they should call the city manager's office.
Well, and if we know too that this is going to kind of serve as a trial run period, that we can see how this is going to be. I mean, I'm willing to do that, but I don't want to just say, okay, we're going to vote for this and this is how it's going to be, without having seen how the traffic and the parking turns out.
Well, that's part of the process of getting
Yes.
to that point, so.
But
Okay.
Judy, we are going to vote for it one way or another at the
Right.
next meeting. You understand
Right.
that?
But
And
this
then,
is what I'm trying to clarify for me to know,
Sure.
going forward after that vote,
Right.
we have a period of time where we're going to analyze this and see how things are going.
I think that happens at every change that we make, yeah.
Okay.
Anything else, commissioners? Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to speak to this?
Good evening. My name is Ruth Kuhn, and I live on Park Avenue. I do frequent that intersection probably once or twice a day, and I just have a few remarks about removing the light. I think right now, when I approach that intersection, it seems to be very organized. People that want to turn left, and there are 4 ways to turn left, each one of those points in the intersection. They turn left, and I don't really remember having to sit there for any length of time. The other point that I want to make is, on College Street, around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, if you're on College Street going north, there are school buses, there's a lot of traffic that stacks up at the Wood Street stop sign. Then it stacks up at the Covington light. Then it's pretty congested there right at the Water Street and College. There's Rallies, there's CVS, there's the cash and place. And then when you move on further, then there's people turning left into US Bank. There's a lot of turning and going back and forth. But when you reach the intersection of High and College, it's organized. You know what lane to get in to turn left. You know which lane you're going to go straight ahead, and it just seems like it flows very well. I understand that they've done a study, but the people that do the study don't see the other branches of how those people get to that intersection of High and College. As far as parking goes, I'm not sure who would park there anyway. as far as the funeral home goes, that would probably only give them maybe 4 spaces or whatever. So narrowing that down at that busy intersection, I think would be a detriment to us for our convenience. I know we could all get used to it. I've heard that before. We can get used to change. We certainly can. But I agree with Commissioner Terry that maybe we should consider Ash and Green and North. Those are just a big tie-up. You just have to sit there, especially the one on Green and North. You sit there for a number, of course, it seems like.
Those will all be coming down this year, Ruth.
Yeah.
Next year.
Or next year.
Oh, they will, okay,
In
good. So I just,
2015.
and I'll respect your decision, but I do think we really need to think about if they did their little counts, that's one thing, but to actually be in that intersection a number of times during the day and see the congestion, but when you get to that intersection, it is very organized. If you're going to have one lane and a lot of people turning left, and they will all be turning left at all 4 of those points, I think that's terribly congested. I think that would be also more dangerous for people crossing the street. Now, when people cross the street, they know it's safe because we're all stopped at the stoplight. But at a 4-way stop, you're never really sure if those people see you or not. So those are just a few remarks. Again, I'll respect your whatever you do, but I hope you'll reconsider taking that light out. Thank you.
Thank you. The studies that are done are pretty comprehensive, I believe, are they not? And Ruth, I think if, as Judy has said and asked about, there'll be a trial afterwards. And the purpose of this is to make the corner safer. And I, as a person who does not study traffic signals, cannot really say, but I think we'll find out after we do remove the light, or not remove the light, but have it flashing and give it the trial. Then we'll know for sure. But the purpose is to move the traffic better down through Covington
And provide safety.
And provide safety. So we'll have to see how it goes.
Sometimes it doesn't seem to make sense, but at times it
Yeah.
does.
Edna Stifel again, 910 Boone. I was at the Rotary dinner this evening, and I was approached by a couple people, and they were concerned because they said that the study has already started, that the lights were covered and the turn lanes were already shut off. Is that?
The turn lanes, right now, we're going, it has been, there's no left turn lane light. That is underway because that's not part of the traffic removal part.
Oh, okay.
It's a different section of going to, removing the turn lanes through there.
Because they were concerned, they said that there was supposed to be a study done, and now already before it was voted on, it's already started, and that's.
Well, I think the study has been done. I didn't realize
the
that.
The action by the commission is only to remove the traffic signal. It doesn't deal with the traffic lane configurations. So that's why the difference is.
Thank you.
Thank you, Edna. Anyone else? If not, with no objection, that will stand as the second reading of ordinance number 14-14. Moving on to new business, resolution number R-115-14.
A resolution authorizing a purchase order to E.H. Watts for the purchase of a valve maintenance trailer.
Assistant Underground Utility Superintendent Shane Johnson will provide the staff.
Good evening, everyone. This purchase will increase the effectiveness and the efficiency of the Underground Utilities Department, field operations, and the water distribution system. This piece of equipment is specialized, designed for the maintenance and operation of the city's water distribution system valves. The WOX valve maintenance trailer is self-contained, fully automated piece of equipment that features a valve vacuum system to clean debris from the valve boxes, and hydraulically operated valve turner to operate and exercise the valves, an auxiliary hydraulic outlets to power additional tooling. This system comes complete with a WOX Vital software, GPS receiving equipment, and the automated controller, ensuring the AWWA standards are followed during the valve exercising operations while the Vitals software are tracked. We for the first time in the history of the city of Piqua, we operated all the valves in the city. When we did this, the piece of equipment that we rented was $4,000 a month. By purchasing this, when we did that, and we had to do it in such a short amount of time, we had to split the crews up into 2 shifts in order to get all the valves operated within a month's time. By purchasing this piece of equipment, we can do it more at our leisure. We can do half the city one year, the rest of the half the next year, or however we deemed, and we won't have to split the shifts up. And in addition to that, we were awarded a $40,000 grant from the BWC, and the city will only have to pick up the remainder of the amount of $21,480.
I'm sorry, I couldn't quite hear. What was the remainder, the 20,000, is that what you
That would be the city's cost.
21,480 is what our portion of the purchase would be.
That'd be like 4 months' rent or a little over.
And I think we demonstrated this at one of our commission coffees on the techniques and so forth of what, and it's really a safety issue too, because this equipment allows us to do it in a much safer fashion and provides the technology to be able to GIS all our hydrants and valves and everything throughout the city. But the reason that work and why it's so important is that we do those valves to maintain that system so it works properly, and having this equipment certainly is a great benefit. Getting a grant, a safety grant to help pay for that is a tremendous benefit. So that's paying, $40,000 of the $60,000 cost of this piece of equipment.
And you had budgeted the 60,000, I think. Is that correct?
In next year's
Did
budget.
I read there?
Yes.
For 15? Yeah. Oh, good. Commissioners, any questions?
Yeah, on line number 3 of the itemized, or actually be the third one, itemized bill of materials that we're getting, the Pathfinder Pro 6H decimeter GPS receiver with a floodlight. Okay, what's the difference between that and number 2?
Let's see. I'm not sure where you're at, Mr. Martin. Oh, okay, you're on the
quote.
on the quotation.
Mm-hmm.
Is it one GPS receiver has a floodlight and one doesn't?
The floodlight is mounted on the arm that comes out and actually operates the valves. It doesn't have anything to do with the GPS itself.
Well, it says it provides decimeter accuracy with floodlight technology to deliver dramatic improvements when working in urban canyons and other tree canopy.
That's the GPS itself. The decimeter is the range that you get. There's different types of GPS units you can get. I mean, this one is probably the closest that you can get to actual accuracy within like 6 inches of where the actual valve is.
Yeah, but number 2 is a sub-meter GPS receiver provides sub-meter accuracy in real time with integrated antenna for fast setup and swift data collection. Aren't these two pieces kind of the same thing?
All this comes together, correct?
Oh, we're getting the third one. That's the
We're not getting the second one?
no.
Oh, okay. All right. That works.
I'm
then.
sorry, I missed that. I apologize.
Okay, I thought that was for both of them.
No,
Yeah,
no, we're only
if-
getting one.
If you see
One, we're only
and
going to
three
get,
added
we're
together,
getting
it's
the
all
number
like
2. We're not getting the
61.
number 3.
Okay, my bad. All right.
I apologize. I didn't understand.
That's okay.
Any other questions? Anyone in the audience wish to speak for or against this resolution?
Shane, would we be saving $4,000 a year because we have to rent that piece of equipment for $4,000? Do we do that each year, or do we not do that every year?
It would be a savings, yes,
Okay.
And that's something we've started doing every year
Yes.
now.
We have been doing it every year.
yes.
we just
So-
started.
Well, we just started it this
Past
year.
year.
Okay,
But in
so-
order to do that,
So the plan would be, if we don't get our own equipment, we would
We'd continue
be,
to have to.
That's
we would
correct.
be
We'd be-
renting it for $4,000
Yes, that's
per year.
correct.
This makes a lot of sense.
When they rent the equipment, they have to double up and do 2 shifts.
That's
This-
correct.
This way, they can do it 1 shift at a time and take
Paid
2 months if they
overtime,
want, or
Yeah.
3
It
months.
did. when
That's
it-
correct.
2 shifts, yeah.
Okay, that's good.
Well, I got a question. What's the expected life of this trailer?
20 years, 30 years.
Okay. All right.
Return on investment will be good.
All right.
Good.
And what this will highlight is when we activate these, we find defective valves and we can repair them before they actually go bad, right?
That's correct. When we operated all the valves this last time in March, February, March, we found out of 960 valves, we found that probably 3 valves were inoperable. And we never knew exactly how many valves we technically had. We had a general idea, but I mean, with this equipment, we know exactly how many valves we have in the system. The machine counts the revolutions of the valve itself. The valve goes down X amount of times, it comes back up. It calculates how much torque it takes to operate the valve. So you know, it's like you said, you know all the particulars about the valve itself.
So when a valve goes bad, what's the effect to the, what's the effect of it if you have a bad valve?
Fix it.
Dig it up and replace it.
No, I mean,
To the customer.
to the customer.
Less interference with their service. If we know the valves are all operational, then we don't have to issue boil advisories. We can isolate areas, you know. A good example would be, we had a water main break out here in Zollinger's, right outside here. We were at 11 blocks, and we still didn't get it shut down. We had to go to other measures. You know, if we had this machine, we would have known, you know, exactly what valves to go and operate the valves and make sure that they were working correctly, and it would cause less of a disturbance to the customers. Boil advisories, water shutdowns, those things.
And less breakage because you'll catch it before it.
That's
gets
correct.
bad,
Yeah,
right?
you're knowing in advance, getting around the curve, I
Right.
guess, looking around the curve.
Okay.
Is the information that you obtained this year, will you be able to bring it over to this new trailer?
Yes, there is a lot of information that we got from the other one that we'll be able to implement into this new one,
Okay.
and then much, much more.
All right.
Move to adopt resolution R11514.
Second.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to adopt resolution number R-115-14. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Commissioner Vogt,
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson,
Aye.
Commissioner Terry,
Aye.
Commissioner Martin,
Aye.
Mayor Fess.
Aye. Resolution number R-115-14 has been adopted. I want to report that the monthly reports are in and have been accepted. And at this point, we'll go to public comment, opening the floor to anyone in the audience who would like to come forward and speak. Just come to the podium, please, state your name and address, and direct your comments.
Good evening.
Good
My
evening.
name is Kim Piper. This is my husband, Scott. We are at Wilshire Drive off of High Street. Just moved to the community in January and wanted to come and just make a comment about how much we're enjoying
Could you
the
speak
Piqua
up
area.
just a little, please?
Sure.
Come a little closer. I'm sorry.
Actually, I'm in this room every month almost with the school
school
boards. I work
board?
for Piqua City Schools, but it's a little different being up here in front of all of you. We just recently moved to the area in January and wanted to come and just comment on how welcoming the community has been, how much we're enjoying using the parks, just all the amenities that are here in Piqua and in the Miami County region, and have been so impressed with just the people we've met and the professionalism of all of the different providers that are working for the community. And I could talk highly of Chief Jameson and Mr. Smeezing, just all of the different organizations that are really working hard to make Piqua a great place. The chamber, just everyone. So we just wanted to just come and say thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you for coming.
I would be remiss without also addressing Commissioner Terry as well. She's certainly a wonderful partner to the schools, and we appreciate all that you do. So, thank you.
Thank you, Kim.
Yes.
Thank you. I couldn't add anything more, so I won't.
Well, we're very
busy.
happy to have you in Piqua, and
you.
anything that we can do to help you, please don't hesitate to ask. And thank you so much for your kind comments. That means an awful
Thanks
lot.
for your work.
You're welcome. Yes, thank you.
Anyone else? Is there anyone else? If not, we'll move to the city manager's report.
Thank you very much. Just a few comments tonight. We're hoping to have our new website up within the next month. This will be a fresh new look at our website with improvements for the access to content. So we're looking forward to that. We continue to work with our Civic Investors Group on the downtown Riverfront redevelopment project to move things forward and to push further action. So that's moving along. We got a lot of staff working on that. You approved recently the crack sealing bid, and the crack sealing of streets will begin the week of November 17th. I wanted to let you know about that. The city managers of Miami County will be meeting with Senator Beagle next week to continue our discussions about concerns regarding House Bill 5. So that remains high on our priority list of dealing with that issue. I'm happy to report all the paving has been completed and pre-markings placed on the streets except for College, but that was just done, and we're hoping College would actually be the first one striped because of the turn lanes and everything there. And manhole adjustments and the other things will take place now as quick as we can get those,
Harry, how many
those in.
streets was it that were paved?
Well, we did total, I think, of 23 streets this year. So
That's
I know.
great. That's just terrific.
Just a reminder that the Commission's 2015 budget review meetings will take place on Thursday, November the 13th at 6 p.m. in the Administrative Conference Room. On the 13th, that will be for Enterprise Fund, Streets, and Community Development. And then the second work session will be on the General Fund and other budgets, which will take place on Thursday, November the 20th. And that's also at 6 p.m. in the Administrative Conference Center. So those budget meetings are coming up. Just a final reminder that there is an open house at the fire department tonight, and anyone wishing to stop by and view the election results are welcome to be there. So extend that invitation to everyone. That's all that I have. I'd be happy to answer any questions anyone might have.
Can you review the leaf collection dates and all that, since they're on the ground?
Not off the top of my head. I'd have to get you that
Okay.
information.
Is it on
So
the website?
we're actively working to get those. I know they did work this past weekend to try to get caught up. I don't have that schedule, but it should be, I'm going to say it should be on our website for
Okay.
people to view.
Do you know if they've made any complete rounds or anything like that yet?
Do not know.
Not sure?
I'd have to
Okay.
check, but I'd be happy to get that information and get that out
Okay.
to you tomorrow.
All right.
Commissioner vote.
I haven't got a thing.
Commissioner Martin.
Don't have anything.
Commissioner Terry.
I hope to party this evening with the members of the safety committees for our city. I'm keeping my fingers crossed.
Commissioner Wilson.
I'll be with her.
Party animals, that's all they are.
That's about it.
Party animals. Well, I really don't have anything either, so if we could have a motion to move
I
to
move to go to
executive
executive
session.
Second.
Would the clerk please call the roll?
Mayor Fess,
Aye.
Commissioner Martin,
Aye.
Commissioner Terry,
Aye.
Commissioner Vogt,
Aye.
Commissioner Martin.
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson?
Yeah.
We're moving to executive session.
Put that in the minutes.